Now that we've talked about how to top the competition using the upside down pyramid, we ought to talk about how exactly we'll do so. Traditional competitions, or fighting over pie slices as we like to call it here, is relatively straightforward. Whether it's math competitions, debate tourneys, or music recitals, the path has already been paved nicely and neatly by all of the students who came before us. But when topping the upside down pyramid, or baking our own pie, we have to pave our own path. Why? Because we're producing something that has never been made before using our own passions. And while no two people have exactly the same passions, at the same time, that's precisely what is so valuable about paving a path for ourselves. It is guaranteed to produce something that is meaningful. As a plus, it exudes creativity to admissions officers and sets us apart from other applicants, since, well, no one else will be doing exactly what we're doing. Back to pie baking. Now that we're crystal clear on why baking our own pie is so important, it's time to wonder about how to bake our own pie. To first bake a pie, we must first have a recipe. And it's the same case for mapping out personal 20% projects. Fortunately, we do have a recipe, IPLUS, an acronym representing 5 characteristics of a perfect passion project. Let's start with interest, absolutely the foundation of a 20% project, which is why it's placed first. Now, this head honcho 20% project, this linchpin we send to colleges, typically takes dozens of hours to actually materialize. Sounds like a lot of work, right? That's because it is. But that's where the beauty of this letter comes in. When we're genuinely interested and passionate about an activity, it shouldn't feel like much work. Sure, participating and studying for competitions might be a drag. But when we're doing something we love, like dance or video games or cooking or travel, that's why interest is so important. Because without interest, there's no chance we'll be able to complete our 20% project. Your 20% project doesn't have to be something you already enjoy. It could also be something you're interested in but haven't had a chance to further explore yet. Maybe your uncle gave you a DSLR camera for Christmas and you wanted to use it to explore photography. Maybe you worked in a buddy's bakery for a summer and now you want to start a side hustle where you sell cupcakes, cakes, and other baked goods. When considering potential projects, don't just think about what interests you, but also what might interest you. Imagine this interest being powerful enough to fuel you through some really tough weeks. Now, on to people. Remember this, the more people that you can impact with your project, the more meaningful it becomes. This letter, along with S, is one of the main distinguishing factors from a traditional passion project. Passion projects are something you do in your own time to recharge. It's personal, like creating a travel journal or sketching in your notebook. But a passion project is not the same as a 20% project, at least not the way Kevin and I define it. That's because we are going to require that your project involves as many people as possible, whether it be mentors or friends who lend new skills, or ordinary people who your project somehow uplifts. After all, what's the point of a pie if you don't share it with others? Take video games, for example. Playing video games by yourself? No one really benefits besides you and the company's bank account. But creating a video game esports club that uses game theory to help you guys make better decisions? Now you're directly demonstrating social value by starting a community and demonstrating the organizational and people management skills by finding the mentors, students, and teachers willing to help out. Of course, benefiting others isn't entirely a unidirectional investment. Having a community of people swelling with gratitude and respect for what we've accomplished is the perfect segue to legitimacy. We've sort of addressed this in the pyramid problem, but it's an incredibly important point worth rehashing again. Essentially, colleges have no way of distinguishing whether what we're doing is true or not. How do they know we're not just making up the fact we made a nonprofit? How do they know what we're doing is actually making a tangible effect on society? By obtaining these stamps of legitimacy, we are essentially taking the legitimacy of these larger, more established institutions and transferring it into our own project. In turn, the bigger and more renowned the stamp, the more impressive it is. Being able to have many people testify to our project's success is one of the most effective ways to legitimize our project. There are other ways, of course, like partnering with a news agency or working with a more established organization, but we'll leave those nitty-gritty details for a future video. For now, just keep the L in the back of your mind, but no need to stress about it. On that note, let's also hold off on the U, or uniqueness, for now, since honestly, being unique and knowing how to be unique is so vital to our 20% projects that it requires an additional video to thoroughly cover. To tie up the list of a 20% project's necessary components, let's talk about social impact. Expanding upon the people aspect of our project, social impact deals less so with the number of people we're getting involved and more so how does it actually benefit them. If you think about it, our project's capacity to impact the world really ties together the other letters in IPLUS. Obviously, impacting others connects your project to more people, which in turn increases your project's legitimacy. But what's more connections can actually strengthen the interest you yourself have in your project. When we start receiving gratitude from more and more people, we naturally become more and more interested in the thing that is eliciting that much gratitude. And of course, showcasing on college apps your willingness to use your time and efforts to benefit your community can be quite unique as well. Honestly, you would be astounded by the number of college applicants who downplay the impact of heartfelt community service in presenting themselves. Social impact is a very broad term that can mean a lot of things. There are an infinite number of causes and problems in society, and it's up to us to pick the one that has the most meaning. It could be spreading awareness for a social issue, raising money for a cause or charity, building a club that gets dozens of community members involved, organizing an event that celebrates a community, whatever. The choice is yours for how you can convert your interest into something that makes a tangible impact on others. But just remember, a 20% project with no social impact is no 20% project at all. There you have it, the famed IPLUS acronym. That was a lot of information. So to make sure we really hammer these points home, we will be repeating it a few times throughout the course.